Another thing I'd like to mention real quick in context of the Goetia is you don't have to summon these incorporeal beings to full on physical manifestation, which is difficult. You don't even have to scry them into a black mirror or reflective surface. A lot of this stuff you can do directly just working with the sigil itself. And that's what I've done, probably like once or twice. I was standing in a circle and done the Uncle Bear Heart version of the evocation, in the name of the Prime Creator, come forth, Spirit X. Okay, X, let's get to work, and then you tell them, this is what I need from you, this is what I want to do, this is payment, it's right here, you give me what I want, this bottle of wine is yours, okay, if you give me what I want. And how it normally does is I'll give him half the offering, I'll pour him a little bit of wine now, okay, uh, here's something to get you started, finish the work, and I'll pour out the rest of the wine bottle for you. Or, or you'll cook him a steak, or you'll bake a cookie for him or something like that. Just really, really simple stuff. No blood packs are needed, no soul selling shit, and you almost never have to give them blood. If you're giving something blood, then you're too far into the Kabbalah and you're getting into the juicy clip off shit, and you want to get the fuck out of there. Anything that's asking for your blood is usually a vampire. Now, every now and again, some of the greater like workings and stuff like that, where you open up a gateway or something, will require a tiny droplet of blood as a spark to get something moving, to get something going. But when you're doing, the working with like a spirit like Andromalius, who's a very chill dude, doesn't ask much at all. You give him respect, you give him something to drink, or a cookie or something like that, or just make something for him. He'll get to work. A lot of the times later in the working, I just draw his sigil on a napkin, you know, and I just say like a few times in a row, come Andrew Malice, like probably 5 times or something like that. No, uh, no conjuring in the name of the Prime Creator or anything like that. You're just working directly with the sigil alone. And I was underage at the time. I couldn't drink alcohol, but I would drink Listerine. So a lot of my offerings with Andrew Malice, I'd offer him Listerine because I was drinking it myself. I was drunk on it, and that's what I was drinking. Later on, I'd switch out the Listerine for vanilla extract because it's a little bit more palatable, a little more easier to stomach than the Listerine. And my policy is if you're working with spirits, which can be a potentially very dangerous thing because they're just like people. They have feelings too. They can be offended. They can be scorned. And then if you have an angry spirit, around you, you'll have something that you can't even see that's working against you in your daily life. And that's not something that you want. You don't want an angry spirit or an upset spirit working against you in your life. Now, the thing about spirits, though, it's like they're very tricky. You're working with something that's not. It's not a corporeal being, a disembodied entity. But in the same way, because the heavens above are from within, and the ground below you is also coming from within, the earth, the moon, the stars, is all within the same thing. These entities, in a way, they're kind of within us as well already, because the whole universe is projected within us. However, you gotta remember, these are non human intelligences. They never had lives like we do. But in the same way, they are like us because they have personalities, they have feelings and motivations and desires and everything like that. Just have whatever you're going to give them ready on hand, so you never have to worry about getting them an offering in time, never having to worry about getting them wine or getting them a cookie or getting them, juice on time, whatever like that. And with Andromalius, you really get out what you put into it. So I only put in about $20, 20, $30, worth of work, between the Listerine offerings. I bought him M&Ms before, and I got the watch and I got the scooter. I got a little bit more out of that, but spirits are like people. The more you give them, the more you put into the relationship, you're going to get a little more back. You got to keep that in mind too. But not all spirits are friendly to man. Some spirits are very evil, and they seek to feed off mankind. Like in these dark brotherhood and light brotherhood orders. Like the Golden Dawn, OTO, and the Kabbalistic orders, where people just become batteries for the angelics. They just, they work with the Hebrew God names. They work with all these archangels and angelics, and they just get fed upon. They just get fed to Yahweh and the void, pretty much. They get put into a meat blender, and they're, and it works for a little bit, but eventually they hit that fucking ceiling where, like, every, corrupted Kabbalistic grounding ritual and Kabbalistic banishment ritual they're doing is just feeding off them and feeding off them more and more. See, those are the spirits that need to be exorcised from this planetary field. Those are the evil spirits, the monsters in angels' clothing. They come to you as benevolent and everything, but they're anything but benevolent, and they feed off you and all that shit. I would never work with Yahweh or the Metatron or Tetragrammaton. That thing is a real dickhead. That not only is it the god of Israel and the god of the enemy, the god of the juice there, but it's also a collective hive of the enemy entities, the enemy spirits and interdimensional extraterrestrial beings. The hive, essentially. It's a Kabbalistic hive, like a nest of wasps or something. You don't want to fuck with that. Because everything in Kabbalah has to do with just opening up yourself into that and uploading your consciousness, your own individuality, to where you get to this point where you've been completely cored and there's no more you inside of you. You're just a doorway to the God of Israel. You're just a doorway to the God of Kabbalah, and you're just like a Borg. You're like an angel Borg, you don't want nothing to do with that. But, working with Andromalius to fight the Illuminati, to fight the banking cartel, that's okay. Or working with Surgat, to help get Nikolai Tesla's blueprints and patents back into the hands of the common man. If you're doing this stuff to attack the enemy and to get this stuff, like Nikolai Tesla's work, and all the money that was stolen, back into the hands of the people, you're going to be okay. As long as you do it respectfully and with a good heart. But if you're going into Kabbalah, there you're getting into the angelics and you're getting into everything. The Tetragrammaton, the Yahweh is gonna eat you. It's gonna feed upon you. So when you do this, keep in mind, once you've established a relationship, there's no need to evoke or invoke anymore. You can just pour juice onto a sigil and just draw a sigil onto a napkin or a paper plate. As long as that napkin hasn't been used before, it's okay. And just pour the offering, the juice or the wine or whatever, onto the sigil, and just say, I'm pouring this on the sigil because this has got to be done. This got to be done. Okay. I'll be back next week or whatever like that, and that's cool. That's an okay work to do it. But when you start giving them blood and things like that, that's when you gotta take a step back and realize, it may not be Andromalius anymore. It may not be this spirit. You could be getting fed upon by an angelic or fed upon by the Kabbalah or something. The working was from springtime 2013 till springtime 2014. It was a year-long exercise, and the point was you evoke them once a week. Now there was a pause in it. I was interrupted. Uh, my mom got all crazy. She thought someone stole one of her pills or something because she misplaced them, and she threatened to tear my whole room apart. So I got all the candles, the red candles, and all the occult stuff out of my room and into the little barn or shed area outside my apartment. And I took a break from it for about a month. Um, I wish I told Andromalius, what was going on, that I had to take a break from him. But when I got back to it, I just went back to it like nothing had ever happened, and I came out of that okay there. And I found the note too. I found the note after that. So the break was really early on. The break was like within the first like month of the year long working, and then finding the letter later on was towards the end of the working, more than halfway into the year long working with Andrew Malice. Never seen him, but uh, according to the grimoires there, he appears as an old man holding a serpent, or he's constantly wrestling with a serpent. Like his left arm's constantly like wrestling with this snake or handling this snake, and he has like a gold staff or a scepter in his right hand. If you'd like to work with Andrew Malice, the link to the Uncle Bearheart video with the Andrew Malice working will be in the description.